You're listening to Behind the Bulldogs on News Radio WBRN.
Off the left side to the end zone. Touchdown Bulldogs.
If I'm even having like a bad day on the course or something, I just look down at it and just feel like thankful that I'm able to be out there.
Making sure that we're like where our feet are and we're not thinking about outside distractions.
Welcome into episode 5 of our Summer Behind the Bulldogs podcast series. It's the dynamic duo, running duos today. Brody Kaiser, Brandon Worth here. And Brody, we've got a whole slew of events today on the show. We'll be talking about some key events this summer as well as some key contests that we now know of as the schedules have been released for the fall of 2026. Should be a lot of fun. We got golf outings upcoming and a lot of the sports, including yours with hockey, football, and as well with soccer. Some key games on tap. Bulldog fans should be pretty excited.
Yeah, if you didn't catch it, FairestateBulldogs.com, social medias, the schedules for those three teams came out this past week, probably about a week ago now. And yeah, excited to talk about them. Big opponents on the schedule, as you might expect for, the prestigious university like we have. Another great slate of what should be fall schedules. We'll get the volleyball one shortly, and then turning into the winter season for hockey. But yeah, excited to break it all down.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we break it down, big thanks to Johnson's Automotive. You can visit them in Big Rapids and Mount Pleasant if you need car repair. Johnson'sAutoBR.com for more information. Let's start with the summer, and we'll obviously go in chronological order towards the fall later on in the show, so stick around for that if you want soccer, hockey, and football. But speaking of football, they are on tap for our first golf outing basically of the year, outside of the Alumni Association, which that one was back in May. But the football golf outing this weekend at Clear Lake Golf Club. And this is, Brody, one of the most prestigious events in terms of can you find a buddy and get in on time? Because I've never seen as many golf carts on a course at one time as this outing will have at Clear Lake. It's going to be packed with a bunch of dogs, a bunch of alums, and a lot of people supporting the program.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I believe they cap it at 36 teams, and Clear Lake is an 18-hole golf course. So that means that they have 2 different foursomes on each hole to start out with. It's an all-day thing. I believe it starts at noon with the shotgun start. Registration's obviously well before that, but it's a hefty event. It's a fun time. People coming out and trying to play good golf. Yes, of course, that's always a goal, especially for people in the sports world who are competitive, such as yourself and myself, but
sure,
we're not playing in the outing, but just that sort of nature, But the biggest thing is the support for the program. And it's always great. We talked with Steve last week about alumni coming back and how the brotherhood is there, the bond for the football players. And it's good to see not only players who played under Coach Anise, but who played football for Ferris State long before still continue to come back. So it really is a pretty sweet event. I know we're going to have some great scores. We do every single year with all the outings, but good to see people coming back to support the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. And you get to see all 3 phases, right? You get to see the former players of the past. You get a lot of the present players that are out, whether they're playing or they're actually working something within the event, the raffles, so on and so forth. And as well, the future with a lot of the recruits, the incoming freshmen, and a lot of their families as well that get to join. And it's really a lot of fun. And of course, if we know Coach Anise, it's always competitive, so his team will win. And no, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So we're obviously going to see all of our Bulldog fans there that have registered. If you haven't registered already, you're probably out of luck. But if you're looking for more outings, boy, we have plenty of them for you. Starting with the men's basketball alumni and friends outing. That's going to be at Khaki on July 22nd. And that should be a really great event. Not only has it been an annual event, but this is the first one for head coach Brooks Miller. So you get a chance to go meet Brooks, be able to chat with him. And I mean, what a great dude. We're excited for the program and being able to move forward. And if you want to support men's basketball, this is the prime time to do it. July 22nd for the men's basketball golf outing. Also a premier event and the first one at Khaki as well.
Yeah, and you get to meet Coach Miller, like you were saying, but also meet the new iteration of the Bulldogs, the players that he's bringing in for his first year. We did this last season with Coach Riley in hockey. People got to come out and talk with Brett, get to know a little bit about him and prepare for the season. Same thing with Coach Miller. It's going to be really exciting. Coach Miller is a really great guy just from being here only a couple months. You can already tell there's a lot of promise for what he does as a basketball coach and what he can bring to the Bulldogs, but more so just as a person. He fits right in with the rest of the coaches here at Ferris State. love the dude from the few interactions I've had with him. I think there's a bright future ahead, and you can come out and meet him on July 22nd. That should be another great outing. Talk about an outing that's full. That one almost always is as well.
It is going to be indeed. And for a lot of businesses out there, I mean, to support the Bulldogs as well, this is going to be a prime event for you to meet them, as well as a lot of the other sports. Speaking of hockey, Brody, you mentioned it. That's going to kick off our month of August this summer. It's August 1st, the Hockey Classic and Alumni Golf Outing. And this is another one that it's going to be full, pretty much closed. I mean, if you're on the wait list, good luck, say a prayer, but it's going to be, it's going to be a really small chance you get in, because this is going to be another one that's loaded. I think a couple years back, we played the practice holes because we had more than 36. I mean, it's going to be a great, and I mean, for Coach Riley building on this year, it should be an even better event now that the coaches, obviously the administrative, got their feet wet with last year and want to do some improvements as well looking forward. And not only that, I mean, being able to be there last year, all the things that you do outside of golf is really cool. There's cornhole out there to win raffle prizes. There's a lot of other fun stuff. And a lot of these sports really take the golf outing and make it more than just golf. So if you're a golfer and you're like, I don't want to play 18 holes, like I can't swing a sand wedge anywhere 50 yards in, like that's fine. You can have a lot of fun, meet a lot of people, and there's still a lot of interactive things outside of actually swinging the clubs.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because people look at the price sometimes and say, oh man, that's a lot for golf. Well, It's not really just golf for these events. You have a couple of meals that are provided. There'll be apparel that's included in that as well, and different things for opportunities for you to win prizes. So there's a lot that goes into it, but you're absolutely right, Brandon. It's more than just the golf. It's an experience. It's bonding with people. It's reconnecting with people that maybe haven't been together in a year or longer than that if you haven't come out to the outing in a while. But I do want to give a big shout out to Justin DiMartino for spearheading the hockey golf outing.
Shout out.
Last season, like you were talking about, with the coaching turnover, bringing in a new staff, they didn't have a ton of time to prep, and DMar did an unbelievable job getting that thing sold out. Just the power of a guy who played here and is now coaching, all the connections that he's got, but a little more prep time, so I'm sure he's not quite as stressed with the golf outing this year. Still a lot of stress. It's a packed event. There's a lot that goes into it, but big shout out to him, and excited for another great hockey outing.
It's there, but it's lowered.
That's right. The bar is just slightly below heart rate per minute, I'm sure, for DMar.
Yes, but the expectation bar.
That's right. That continues to go up.
Yeah, we want to see that parallel, right? We want to see those change. So that outing is coming up. And then in September on the 2nd, this is actually really sweet. Women's basketball and softball, they did this joint outing a couple years ago. Coach Schumann, Coach Westendorp joined forces. Hey, let's make the more the merrier, right? Supporting women's sports. And now they're going to be doing it in a big way. They have graduated from khaki and they're moving it to Tullymore. This should be really, really fun, and really excited to see these two groups be able to go out and play some of the best courses, not only in terms of Tullymore in the area, but also in the state of Michigan. Pretty sweet opportunity too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful course. I think Coach Shu has a connection over there, so they were able to work something out to get the outing out at Tullymore. So huge shout out to Tullymore for letting this be a thing. I believe it'll be the first year that's the partnership with the course for the outing, but wonderful that Coach Westendorp and Coach Schumann combined forces for that, because being a little bit later past the summer, school's back in session, sports have begun, athletes have all returned. It's just a little bit harder to get numbers at that point, but doing it together has made it a sold out event for the last couple of years. So I love the connection there. And I'm really excited to see some of the score differentials at Tullymore. There's going to be good golfers out there, but that is a tough course that can eat you up. So in a 4-man scramble, I'd imagine the winning score is still going to be pretty impressive, but boy, oh boy, there's a difference in skill level from playing Tullymore to Clear Lake or even khaki, which is a good course too.
There's only one rule that I see that must be abided. Shu and Kurt, not on the same team. No. We can't do this. That's a winning partnership right there. Oh yeah, that's definitely two of the best golfers I've seen amongst the Ferris State staff, and they proved it as well with their play at the Harrison Watt Memorial not too long ago.
Yeah.
But one other golf outing to notice, this one does not have a time and date as of yet. It will be at khaki. This is the Duff First Classic, which of course, if you're a golf team, you might as well have a golf outing, right? It makes too much sense. So that's going to be later on in the season in terms of fall. So that's going to be later on, probably in September, maybe October. Coach Stark's going to get all the details on that put together. You can find out more when that comes out at ferrisstatebulldogs.com. But with that, obviously, a lot of events to look forward to. And not only that, a lot of games to look forward to here this fall. And there's obviously going to be more coverage that we'll break it down more in August. It'll be myself, Brody, as well as Sandy and Rob will all be in. We'll break down all the fall coming up in a later episode, as well as some other teams. But preseason number 1 for football, No doubt about it. We were not surprised at all. National champs, right? It almost fits like they always got to be number one, in case you see a crazy turnover. But this year's schedule for football, my goodness, more loaded than ever. We talked with Steve Brocklebank about that, the athletic director. In case you haven't really listened to that episode, go back. I would encourage you to go listen to it, talking about that. I mean, this is a monumental start to the season. You got 3 playoff teams to start the year for Coach Anise. I mean, talk about battle-tested. This is the non-conference slate for this Bulldog team this year. Yeah,
well, like Steve was saying, it's a challenge to schedule games for every team in the country. But when you have the prestige, the national prestige that the Bulldogs do, it's even more difficult to schedule games just naturally, because think about it. If you're fighting for a playoff spot late in the season and you have a loss, whether that's to the number 1 team in the country or anyone else, it's still a loss. And that hurts your resume. Now, obviously, teams like Pitt State and Bentley, Central Washington, the teams that the Bulldogs have in their non-conference are all very good teams. They're coming off the NCAA playoffs last season. A win against number 1 almost sets you up for guaranteed success the rest of your year. Now, obviously, injuries and other things can happen, but if you start with a win against the Bulldogs, boy, your season's off on a great foot. So that's going to be big tests for Ferris State, and then you turn right away almost and get into Grand Valley in October. So those are big games for Ferris State in the first 5-6 weeks of the season. That's going to be a test. Now, the number 1 team in the country with all the expectation again. The Bulldogs have done a great job in the past of not letting that expectation weigh them down. The chip on the shoulder is still there. That's a saying that Coach Anise loves to bring up, and he actually has a physical chip that he shows the guys, which I think is a great symbol for what it means to not only be a Bulldog, but to play like you haven't won anything in the past. But those are big tests. And for a team with national championship aspirations, a team whose fan base has national championship aspirations, it'll be a tough test to start the season.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a really fun start to the season. So they're going to kick off August 27th. That's a Thursday night in Kansas at Pittsburgh State to start the season. Home opener will be Friday, September 4th. That's a 6 p.m. game against the Falcons that Brody just mentioned of Bentley. Homecoming will be September 26th. That's a Saturday. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff against Kentucky Christian. You can put that one on your calendar. We're playing some random team from Allendale on October 17th at their place out Lubbers. That'll be a 3 o'clock kickoff for Anchorbo. And then as well, October 31st, the Calder City Classic is back in Big Rapids against Davenport. And Senior Day will be the last regular season game. It's a conference game at home on November 14th, Saturday at 1 p.m. against Roosevelt. Those some key dates to look for. But speaking of which as well, some key games and some schedule change-ups. Brody, looking at your sport, hockey, we see the schedule. And boy, there's some teams that we need to talk about on the schedule this year. Coach Riley and this staff, they're ready to get ready for 2026-27.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about playing the best teams in the country. That's exactly what Coach Riley and this staff have been able to do. Now, you've got 2 of those teams right in Michigan, which certainly helps your case, and Western, the traditional home and home series early in the season, but then also adding the University of Michigan over Thanksgiving. Great time to do it. It's the holidays. Everyone around the country is kind of doing some things where maybe they're off that week. Maybe they're playing conference. Maybe they're doing non-con. No, Ferris State going straight to Yost, playing presumably a top 3 team in the country. I would imagine that they're ranked to start the season, returning so much talent. It's a team that made the national semifinals last year in the Frozen Four. They lost to the eventual national champion. Both those teams, actually, Western and Michigan, lost to Denver in the NCAA playoffs a season ago. And Ferris State beat Western Michigan last year, the whole storyline there. But this is going to be another test for the Bulldogs in terms of those non-con games. And now the Western game early in the season, Michigan a little bit later, so more time for both teams to tune up. But I'm actually really excited for the Canisius series, which is actually the opener, October 2nd and 3rd, I believe.
Yes.
In Buffalo. That should be a fun game. Trevor Large, an alum from Ferris State, coach of Canisius. That'll be cool to see him. A good rivalry that stems back a couple years. It's been since 22-23, I think, since these 2 teams have faced off, and the last two series were both splits. So should be a great start to the season, again on the road, but then we come back for the home opener against Western on October 9, which is the Friday. Very excited for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a great schedule. And I'm glad you mentioned the Canisius connection. It feels like a little reunion, right? With Coach Large coming back, Western Michigan, Michigan as well. But the thing that I'm really looking forward to as well, the Empire State Holiday Invitational, this year's tournament. So we're going to be headed east this year, which is very, very exciting. And I think my favorite part of the schedule, arguably, we're going to finish the year in February, 3 out of 4 weekends right here in Englewood. That's absolutely huge going into the postseason.
Yeah, we've had some tough travel over the past couple seasons, specifically in January, but then, February, it slows down a little, and that is certainly the case again this year. We have 3 home series of the 4. I think it's Augustana, Bemidji, and Bowling Green to close it out. So expect that to be senior weekend, February 26 and 27. If the Bulldogs are in a position where positioning matters in terms of the standings, which it should, the CCHA is highly competitive every single season. That's the way that you want your season to close, is having 6 games at home, 6 opportunities for points at home when they matter the most. So definitely excited for that. And how about the Empire State Holiday Invitational?
Yes.
A new partnership between Long Island, UBS Arena, and the Islanders. Definitely excited for that. More information coming out in terms of opponents and matchup times, all those sorts of things. But that's the holiday tournament the Bulldogs will be in this year, December 28 and 29. Pumped up to head out there for that invitational.
Speaking of homecoming for our very own Coach Riley, hey, let's bring him home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's bring in Long Island. That's very, very cool. Let's look at women's soccer as well, as their schedule is out. Some of the other teams right now working on finalizing their schedules for the fall. But for Bulldog soccer, very exciting start to the schedule. We basically start out with a lot of non-conference play as well at home, including Northwood notably on the 20th of August, a team that we've played quite a bit, as well as we'll play Findlay at home this year on the 4th and Walsh as well on the 6th. A lot of home games this year for Coach Henson's team. That was one thing I noticed with this schedule, especially in the conference. We're going to be looking at a lot of games early in the year at home. Now, basically after mid-October through November, once the GLIAC tournament starts, we're going to be quite a bit on the road. We'll obviously have the UP trip to Northern and Michigan Tech, as well as going to Hammond and Wayne State, which, speaking of which, Wayne State, women's soccer this year, fire up. Kudos to the Warriors for getting a squad together. That's going to be very, very exciting. A new ad for the conference this year, which, by the way, this week as we're recording this, GLIAC up to some season. Is that the word to describe it? What's going on there? But anyway, we'll cover that on a different episode. But a lot of big games this year, including October 29th, the home game against some random team from Allendale, as well as we're going to have some other key games against Davenport, Michigan Tech early in the season. But I really love this non-conference slate. And also, one thing to note, how about adding Concordia St. Paul?
Yes.
I mean, that's a huge one. I know for sure that that's going to bring a lot of energy for Coach Henson in that go-around.
Yeah, I think that the Minnesota trip will be really exciting for the team. Different teams that they don't normally see, Southwest Minnesota State, Concordia St. Paul, like you just mentioned, but the regional opponents that we're going to see right after that at home, Findlay and Walsh, 2 teams that always play us tough. I think last year we got the better of both of those schools, but it's gone back and forth in the past few seasons. Always good opponents, always teams that are right there on the NCAA regional bubble. And I actually like the exhibition slate as well. You got Delta College in town on August 15, Northwood August 20, and Kelvin August 22. Northwood and Calvin, familiar opponents, getting Delta College in here. That's just a great way to kick off your season. With 3 exhibition contests. One is awesome, right? You get a little bit of a tune-up, but you get 3 on the schedule. First of all, that's impressive to be able to schedule that way. But also, you get 3 chances to see the iteration of your team for that season. And you put a coaching staff like Coach Henson and Taylor Peacock with 3 film sessions, basically, before your season opener, regular season opener. They can make adjustments. It should be a veteran team. An older team this year that they have in place. So I'm definitely excited for that. And I think Final Four was 2022, I believe, 2022 season.
Something like that, yeah.
I believe we have not made it back to the playoffs since that point. I think this is a year that's going to change. I really do. I got a good feeling about this squad, and I love the schedule for the first month.
Yeah, this should be a very, very exciting schedule. And obviously, a lot of teams that have made it before, I would imagine that Coach Henson would have liked the other Concordia, Nebraska, where we originally got him from out there in Seward. But obviously, St. Paul's a very, very good team. It's a great athletic program, regardless of sport. I mean, it's just one of those, you see the team, they're going to be good, kind of at school. So a lot of fun looking at those schedules there. And obviously, we're going to dive into more of that as we continue on. But that's going to conclude our episode here. Some key games and events looking up for the Bulldog community here this summer. Brody, any last thoughts? This shortened episode, but obviously we got holidays coming up, so we're getting a move on here.
Yeah, I love it. 4th of July is right around the corner, and that's kind of the turning point, right? I know Coach Anise likes to say when he goes to his golf outing for the football team, that's the moment where it's like, oh man, summer is winding down already. But it's really the 4th of July. You get your vacation, you come back, you've seen family, you've done your relaxing, whatever you got to do, and then it's about time to ramp up. And so I'm excited. The schedule's coming out, means we're just that much closer, and we've got a great slate of competition for the 3 schedules we've released. I know that's going to continue as we push the rest of those schedules out.
Absolutely. And a lot of great episodes on deck next week. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening from or get that preset down to WBRN. We're going to have Dr. Dan Atwood on the show. Very excited to talk about the marching band, the pep band, what's new coming up for this year and all the successes from last year, as well as we're going to have the big man himself later on after July 4th. So stay tuned for that. President Pink talking about all the big stuff that's being built on campus and what it means for athletics and the university. So stay tuned for that. Brody, any last thoughts?
No, man. I'm ready for the season to start. It's always nice in the summer. We slow down a little, but it gets to a point where you just miss it. And I'm at that point. So August can't come soon enough.
Yep. July 4th. Then obviously those locals know the fair is after. And then pretty much we're on that downward slide we were talking about last week. So until next week, be sure to subscribe and we'll see you later right here on Behind the Bulldogs here on WBRN.